Okay, here's a brief shop tour. This is a motor I'm working on now. Doesn't look like it shows up very well in the bright sun, but it's a nice motor. A Moto Row. Here you can see the exhaust. I've got it completely apart. It's in pretty good shape. It's a nice motor. There's the rest of it. Let's see, over here there's a power head for a Faro. On the floor here is a nice complete Kael square tank that I'm also working on. This line up here is a mix of stuff. A Kael in the corner, a Safix Miller here, a Kael with a rewind that's for sale, this one, and another Kael rewind, Kael model 22, a motor go of the kind that you don't like but I do, and another one, different model but hard tank. And the motor on the end is the second version of the earliest Kael. It's a skegless motor. Up here is just redhead singles except for the lower unit there. Okay, now let's see, over here, we have the Waterman that I ran at Tomahawk last summer, and here's a open wheel Coben, and here's another Coben with a with spark. That motor is the first year aero thrust. Here's another aero thrust. This one's steerable. And these aren't common. The steerable ones are not common at all. And there's an old friend. And this is an outdrive from the 30s. This is an early thing. I like it. I think I may be the only person that likes it, but I like it. Let's see, up here, Faro parts motor, Kael rudder, a submerged electric, another redhead single that's not red, Kael pennant. This is a motor I'm working on for a guy, rudder twin. Oh, this thing on the floor here is a motor wheel, Smith motor wheel. It's not a bad motor. There, you can see it better down here. I have the tank for this motor, but I don't have the wheel part, unfortunately. There's a Wisconsin Model M, Model J Wisconsin, a Faro that I'm working on, Model L Wisconsin, and the one on the end is the first year skegless Wisconsin. I like Wisconsins, as you might be able to tell. Crash. Okay. Now, over here, here's a gray gearless in a box. It's all there, except the tank needs to be rebuilt. Oh, here's the 3.5 horse Wisconsin. That's a pretty rare motor. That Evinrude on the floor is has the tilter option. And here's a straight leg Blakely. You can see the, if I can get down here, you can see the really big skeg on the bottom. Very distinctive. Only on the Only on this motor, Straight Leg Blakely, did they have that. This is a Kael with a rewind. There's the rewind down there. And this has, beside the rewind, has this, what they called a float feed carburetor. This was when they were using mixing valves like that. So this was an option, and pretty rare. This Kael with a rudder on it here is, let me see, which one is that? Oh, that's the with the underwater exhaust. And then, let's see, this Kael with the tape on top, that is with a detachable rudder. And that is a rare motor. This is a Kael Model 15 twin. 15s were variable pitch motors. This is an Evinrude Model D, which was a commercial motor. That's a spin-away with that bag on top. That's a Kael Model 16A. That tank is correct. It's a steel tank. Okay, then on this rack, let's see, here's a just a Kael 5-speed, an early one, but not real early. This is part of that gray gearless in a box. It's a Kael Model 20. Another redhead single. Another Kael 5-speed. Another spinaway. This spinaway is interesting. It's a nice motor, except for the flywheel, which is broken. It's got spark too, and I don't dare start it up because of the broken flywheel. And this one has the S cast into the down tube cover. It's nice. And this is my favorite lady on the water. And let's see, that's another pennant. And from here down are just a bunch of Lockwood ashes. Some of them are Potts motors. This is an Alto that I like. I like this cast-in business on the back of the tank. Unfortunately, it doesn't have spark. I have to rebuild it. Another Faro, and yet another Faro. This is the one with the early one with the big exhaust, big one-piece, very distinctive exhaust manifold and can, which is all one unit. Another Faro. This is the first year Lockwood ash, and this is the correct tiller for it. And this tiller is really unusual. It's got a nice little hand bulge on the end. This is a Wright tank is down there. In fact, there's two tanks. This is a Waterman Suite, and this is the beautiful tank for that motor. It's lovely. This is a Blakely with a nice curvy bottom on it. And this is a 13 Evinrude with the underwater exhaust option. This is that Miller from Mark Suter's meet that you'll remember from several years ago. And this is another Miller that's seen better days. And this is a Moto row like the one on the bench over there, except this is the second year, and this has a skeg on it. The other one doesn't. Okay, there's that. Let's see, this thing on the floor here is a square tank Kael, in spite of the tank that's on there. And you can identify square tank motors by this flat part right here, which is open, or should be open. When you see it, normally it is open. Just no cover on it like that. And that's one of the giveaways for these motors, as well as it being a skegless motor. Okay, this is a lineup of right here of some of my favorite motors. This is a folding Kael, which is a runner, has great compression. This is the earliest known Kael. This is my Kael Suite, which is I think my favorite motor of all. I love this motor. This is the earliest known Evinrude, and this is a Kael 5-speed battery ignition motor. This is the famous motor that got broken at Constantine a few years ago. I've got a new flywheel for it, so it should be okay. If I keep your friends away from it, it'll be all right. This is a Kael Hiawatha, and you might say, how do you know it's a Hiawatha if it says Evinrude on the back? Well, it's easy actually on this one, because the Hiawatha had a Kael Hiawatha had a rudder on it, and for Kael it's the only one like it. It's detachable up here, but on the bottom it's screwed into the bottom of the skeg. And I have some advertising that shows that very clearly. So this is, without question, a Kael-made Hiawatha. The next motor is a Lockwood. The tank has seen better days. Here's, speaking of Lockwood-made motors, this is a Motor Go tank made by Lockwood Ash. There, isn't that lovely? And the next motor in is another first-year Lockwood Ash. And then the next one in after that is a Kael with a rewind thing on it, without the rewind, I might add. This is a rudder Kael, this green thing. I like that motor. I bought that in Indianapolis about 5 years ago. This is a little Johnson J motor I just got. Getting a lot of backlight from the sun, but the decal on this motor is lovely, and this has great compression. This is a running Lockwood Ash Ace, or Lockwood Ace rather. A nice motor. This is a running Lockwood 72T. That motor is a late Kael rowboat motor with a what they called a starter on top, the rope thing. The next two motors are both Kael rowboat motors. Nothing special about them. This baby here with parts all over the top of it is a fairly early motor. It's number 609. It's another Kael. I like that motor. And I like this thing here. You open up this little lever here and it dribbles gas into the priming cup. Nice homemade thingy. And the Zephyr is the first outboard motor I ever owned. And then there's a Kael Model 35 Racer. And the one on the end is another hard tank Lockwood Ash. I think I hit them all out here. Let's see, these two motors here at Lockwood's are here for repair. They're not mine. This is my new room. And in here, this is a '07 Waterman here. The light in here is horrible, so you just have to deal with it. And the tank, which is really rough, but original. This is a good motor. It's not stuck or anything. And there's a Evinrude illustrated in Arlen's book. And here's some arrow thrusts. Maybe I can get some better light here. Let's see. Yeah, there. It's an arrow thrust, nice one. A battery ignition arrow thrust with a nice original decal on the tank. And then there's the prop for it down there. Oh no, that prop's for this first motor. And bear with me here. I'm gonna do some climbing. This, how's that for a decal? Another arrow thrust, of course. Beautiful motor. Then these are just the bottom row here underneath that, around that green milk crate. Are all just Evinrudes. One of them runs. The others I haven't tried to run. Let's see, another Wisconsin. And a Kael Neptune. And what's that? It's another Kael. And this is the Kael on the end here I got in Tomahawk last year for $100. Then another Motorgo, another Lockwood, another Kael junk motor. It's actually a Kael made Motorgo. You can tell by this exhaust here and by the exhaust, the can that the down tube leads into up there. That's not cast metal, that's made out of tin. There's up here is a Kael Neptune and another Neptune. They both have original decals on them. The gray one here, the Neptune decals on the side. There's a parts motor, another Kael twin parts motor, and another Motorgo down there. And then here we have a Evinrude Fast Twin 1933. It's a delightfully original running motor. It's nice. And this is the 1911 Waterman. And there's the tank for it. It's nice. This is a nice motor. And get a load of this, the carburetor on this. I traded my life away for that thing. Okay, now let me put this back. Several of these Evinrudes, by the way, over there, are in Arlen's book. Okay. Now we'll go upstairs. Some test props here. Here's some shipping crates for Kaels. This is my parts in these boxes over here. These plastic boxes are full of parts for various things. This is a Kael Model 15 with beautiful spark, beautiful decals. That's a lovely, lovely motor. Let's see, here's the Model 12 Kael. Hard to find motor. And Model 10. These are all otherwise, except for a Model 35 over there. These are all just Liberty Drive singles. A couple of square tanks. And this square tank over here, let me walk around here. This one, the green one, is incredibly original. It's even got the original batteries in it. I mean, this is to die for. There. It's really amazing. And let's see, this is a messed up Kael. It's not a pennant, I forget which model it is, 12 I think. This is the front of that really nice Model 15. It's just a great motor. And let's see, here's the Model 35 in pieces. Here's a Kael pennant. The decals on the back on the other side of that motor are just as nice. That's a nice, really nice motor. And then here's a rack full of mostly Model 14s. This is a Model 14. The model, oh, there's a redhead single over in the far corner. The Model 14 is the same power head as used in 16s and 15s. So what made it a 14 was that the leg is a take-apart deal. I think you can see it here. Right here. There's a screw that holds the top and bottom together, and another one there. So that's how you ID a 14. This is a Kael with a flat tank on the ends, a flat tank like the one you have over at your dad's place. And Model 14 box on top. Another Liberty Twin box. And then this is a really nice gear holt. It's kind of hard to tell. The light is sort of odd in here, but it's got a great decal on it. That's a nice motor. And there's just parts over here of all sorts. I forget. I think that's about it. There's some more motors in the house on down cellar. I'm not going down there. I think that's it. I think we did it. So there's the tour I promised you 6 months ago. See ya.